dancing. D-A-N-D-I-N-G, dancing. Down, dancing. Down, dancing.
All right, so welcome everybody to a new episode of We Are the Party, podcast by Pachi. It's a podcast where we talk everything that happens behind the scene of the electronic music scene.
All right, guys. First of all, before we start, we always like to tell our guests to subscribe, like, comment, share this. It's what makes this possible, guys. So
We started, this is the 9th episode, right?
no, eighth.
8th episode. So to give our guests that we're going to introduce in a little bit of context, we started this project like very randomly. One day we just said like, why don't we go ahead and start with a podcast? We started a podcast and we kind of agree on 15 episodes for the very first season. I think that this episode is an episode that we wanted to have for a long time.
Since the first one, honestly, since the first episode, this is the one like we've been
hunting for.
Yeah, we've been hunting.
And on the last couple weeks, it was kind of shaky. Finally, we're able to make it happen. So before we actually start, thanks to our sponsors, Kaeli Smoke and Vape. It's located in 3 different places: Miami Beach, Wynwood, and Brickell. And soon we'll be in Caracas, Venezuela. Also, we just received the news that if you guys are in Venezuela or everywhere in South America and you guys want to bring to your country everything like vapes, fumes, flavors, or whatever, you guys can reach out Kaeli and they'll hook you up. Also, thanks to Casalú Venezuelan Seltzer Rum. It's the very first representation of the Venezuelan kind of like rum culture into the seltzer world. So they're our friends. They're here with us. So
we're going to have a little moment like within the podcast that has to do with them. So we'll tell you later. But thank you, Casalú. Okay,
follow us on our social networks down here.
Yep.
And without talking too much bullshit, let's get into it. We want to introduce 2 big friends. I would say 2 of the scariest people in the scene in Miami. 100%.
Most intimidating 100%. People in the industry.
100%. Like I've been on that place where you need to talk to one of them and you're like,
it's like, bro, do you remember like it was like 2 months ago we went to one of your Sundays and it was like, okay, so who's gonna talk to Victor? Like who's it? Is Travis here? Like who's gonna talk to Travis? So, well, whoever gets here, we're gonna talk to them first. So without further ado.
You guys are very approachable, but
definitely. But come on, it's like it's a respect thing.
It's exactly. We were all there, you know.
Exactly.
100%.
So without further ado, we have Victor Emp and we have Travis Rogers.
Woo! Now is where you guys clap. Here. All right, guys. So welcome to We Are the Party. As I said in the beginning, this is a podcast that we started with the initiative of, bringing the scene on a most digestible kind of flow. Since we've started and we've been on the scene for a little bit. You guys have probably been 3 times the
as
time that we've done
yeah.
that we've been. We've realized that the scene sometimes gets pushed to like very dark places and negative spots, and people talk a lot of stuff and bad stuff about our music scene, the electronic music, and all the movement and the culture that goes behind it. So the main objective and the main reason we wanted to start this podcast is to give everybody who maybe knows the scene but scared of reaching out and getting to learn about it, give it like the real face. What's this scene about? What happens behind the actual scene? What happens in front of the scene too? It's not only for DJs. As you guys know, we've had dancers, we've had promoters, we've had managers, and I think that we're very excited to have you guys here. So welcome.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
So I wanna start with a quick question, breaking the ice. So what do you guys usually carry in your pockets, and how do you distribute it?
Carry in our pockets?
Yeah.
As far as?
Like, for example,
Exactly.
myself, I always have phone, keys, wallet. Wallet is always on the back right pocket, keys on the left, phone on the right. That's a most for me.
I'm the same. I don't like carrying too much.
No.
Okay. So you do left, right too?
Yeah.
Or you don't carry?
Same exact pattern. Has to always be the same.
And always.
Yeah.
The double tap.
The tap, the triple tap.
Like making sure like
the triple tap.
Disappeared.
Phone
if
is
you
back.
see me at a party, I'm going like this. It's not something
My
weird.
phone's my phone's the back left, wallet back right, keys, cash.
Okay.
You always carry cash with you.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Okay, but if you have cash, then it's on your left pocket.
it's on my left pocket.
Well,
So
I don't
guys-
know. I don't know if you should have said that. If you guys see Victor Amp, don't reach into his left pocket, okay, guys?
Don't reach
Well,
into his pockets
it
at all.
depends. If I'm gonna negotiate about something, I put a little bit on my left, a little bit on my right. Then I
right.
pull it out like that's all I have. Sorry.
Okay.
Exactly. All
So
right.
if they throw you back, then you have your right pocket.
Like yeah, let me run to the ATM. And if it's not
Okay.
negotiable, I'll pull it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Kike?
I do the triple tap, man. It's phone, keys, and wallet
Every time.
every time.
Yeah.
Keys on the right.
Yep, keys on the right.
I've learned to.
Because I'm left-handed, and I'm just my phone has to be
Oh,
on the
definitely my
left.
cigarettes.
Sometimes when
gotta
I'm
have my
drinking too
cigarettes.
much, I put the
Let's-
thing in the wrong pocket.
Okay,
I
and then you're
almost
like,
have
oh,
a mini
shit,
panic
I lost
attack.
it.
I like those kind of questions because I think that they speak up a lot about who you are as a person, and I think that that's where we want to take this episode today. So.
Oh, wait. I also put the lighter in the little small,
Okay.
little fifth pocket. My lighter goes there, my
okay.
cigarettes go
So
there.
you actually use that pocket? Is that what that pocket's for? Is that pocket meant to put things inside?
Well, usually in festivals
there,
you hide
right?
things. You hide things.
You hide things in there, so
No, but that's usually where my lighter goes.
okay,
All right.
okay, cool, man.
So you are the one that carry the most things out of everyone.
Yeah,
So-
and if I'm with my wife, I'll carry her lipstick
there you
and
go,
mascara.
man.
This guy has some big pockets,
Yeah, I
right?
carry the ID and the phone if the wife's with me.
Yeah.
Your wife's ID and phone.
Yeah,
So every time that she wants to post something, she comes to you and says hey.
all the time.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Okay.
All right. I mean,
Okay,
that's-
interesting,
Sometimes you gotta do what you
interesting.
gotta
Heavy
do.
pants to fill, bro.
That's why Victor always tries pushing his pants up with all that stuff that he's
I
carrying.
mean,
That's
half
just
of the
another-
night my phone's in my hand.
Okay.
I don't know how to break that. Like I'm texting so often that sometimes I don't even put it away.
Okay.
Especially if it's my event or I'm involved in some way.
So I think that's a good a good start point because I think that of course you guys started as DJs promoters and now you guys have evolved into the business on a management side.
Oh, we don't DJ.
Travis, you DJ'd.
Not gigs, but
Okay.
I know how to DJ.
Didn't you DJ in the beginning?
Never done a gig.
You
Never, ever.
done a gig?
No.
Okay.
I won't take a gig away from somebody who really wants it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just a hobby.
Okay.
But I haven't DJ'd since my kid was born. I sold all the gear to make room for that.
For his.
Like, we don't howl. I just refuse to do it.
Okay.
No, there was that one time.
It's really easy.
Okay. Cool story.
It's you
Okay.
just gotta press play, right?
There was that one time where Louis Boyd went to the bathroom and me, you, and Giancarlo got a little tipsy. And I decided to just put me in on the decks.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I've done a few of those little moments, but
Yeah,
not
I've
like a
jumped
real
on.
DJ set.
Okay.
Do you guys carry a thumb drive with you in case
No,
of something happening?
no. I'll just use whatever's there.
Yeah.
I just know how to do it better than the DJ is.
Okay.
DJ does.
I mean,
Well, I mean, I guess you have to know to be able to. I mean, to be a part of it and manage.
Yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, you can know the basics. Like, I was more into producing.
Okay.
Okay.
I worked with a lot of pop artists, very well-known pop artists, very well-known hip-hop artists before you get into the house scene. But it was mostly, that's a lot of studio time.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know, so me it was more editing, studio, back-end stuff. That I have had fun with.
Okay.
The DJing stuff, it's more of the science of the room, the cells.
so how do you got to the house scene, to the electronic music scene?
That actually, I've been doing this for so I was 17, so it's about 28 years.
Holy shit.
So I got into, promoting. I was throwing my personally, I just throw my own big house parties. And it just got so big that I had to rent nightclubs.
But how do you do it? You were into the hip hop rap world, and all of a sudden you decided
Open
to
format,
let's make a house
yeah.
music party, and everybody showed up.
And I always had a love for house music. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? Because especially hip hop has a lot of house influence. Disco has a lot of house influence, and house is actually an eclectic mix of a lot of
Exactly.
other influences. And then Latin. I actually managed. My first artist was a salsa singer.
Okay.
That I managed. He actually got really big. Toured with the Gran Cambo, El Puma, Tito Puente, and then I worked with hip hop artists, famous hip hop artists, so I got to see more of the talents, not so much. And then I worked with big pop artists, with Transcon Records and stuff like that, where I saw more of the marketing aspect of an artist.
Okay.
So with hip hop, it was more like, okay, can he rap? Can he sing? Can he do those things? Does he have the flow? Does he have the image? Where it was not so much the talent, but more of the marketing side. So I got to see both sides of the fence, And then I just took that and adapted towards the house world, and I actually always enjoyed house music. It wasn't really big. Did my little house nights and blew up.
Are you pure house dedicated now?
I always tell people hip hop made me, house pays me.
Okay.
So that's crazy. That
Yeah, it's
the
crazy,
business,
'cause-
the electronic music business, pays you better than.
It's more consistent. More consistent, and I'll tell you why. So you could do a hip hop show. Like say for instance, we can produce like a Drake show. We could do very, very well. But with hip hop, it's every single weekend. So being in management, me making a percentage off the bookings, I get more bookings consistently with house than say once a month. They'll give me a big payday in hip hop. So it's a little bit of
A
both.
little more stable.
A little more stable, more secure, and there's always a demand for house. You know, every weekend you got to have a different house DJ. Where in open format, you can have a resident make consistent money, but he's at the place every Saturday and every Friday and Saturday. Where with house is always
Okay, so
a different act.
I guess we're gonna jump into that a little bit more forward, but I want to talk about Travis. Like, how did you start?
I was switching majors and I needed money to go do school again.
Okay.
So I wanted to find like a weekend gig. And I was already going out and partying a lot. This is like early day space, like 2003, 4.
Okay.
And I had some friends that were promoting and making money on the weekends. So I figured I could do that and then get back into school in like a year. And I would have my weekdays free. And by the time I got to that point, I was making more than the major I wanted to do. So I was just like, well, this makes no sense. I'm going to get myself in a bunch of college debt to make less.
Exactly.
And I always thought it would lead to something else just from the networking of this industry, but it just kept growing. I mean, I started as a promoter, then I started doing social media at Space, then I became like the assistant talent buyer with Luis Diaz, and then I started Humans Alike, and I left Space.
Okay.
We did a club called Seam for like a year, and then the Heart opportunity came about, which was like the best thing that could have
Man.
ever happened. You know?
That was fun.
It was amazing, yeah.
Everybody misses Heart. Like, Heart
I
nights-
miss it more now than like towards the
Exactly.
end. Like doing after hours 2 nights in a row every weekend for 3 years. Like towards the end, I was
Yeah,
pretty tired.
like it
Yeah.
drains you, obviously.
Yeah, big time.
I guess that I think in
Wow. That's
gotta invite them in, you know?
It's an intense buy up there, right?
it's usually it's like that, but we edit it in the back so it doesn't sound.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, Travis, because I think that's one of the most powerful. I think also here for every single DJ, but here in Miami as a starting DJ, like a rising up professional DJ. Promoting. I think that one of the biggest strengths of an artist here in the city, at least from the experience
It's
that we've
pull.
lived, is its pull. How do you manage to consistently create that bond, or both of you, like when you guys promote, like how do you consistently build that bond with the people that is coming to your parties? Like how do you guys manage like competition between, like what makes people say on Sunday I'm gonna go to 1-800-Lucky versus another party?
For me, I always try to treat everything like that Cheers concept.
Okay.
And our parties have always been so local driven that I try to know everybody at my party. At least say hi to everybody, have a drink with as many people as I can, and almost make people feel welcome. And I mean, that came down to everything from like our security to the bartenders. Like, you know, I mean, if you've been to any of my parties over the years, you would see that a lot of the security and door staff hasn't changed too often. So it's familiar faces, it's friendliness. You know, I'm a big believer that if you walk into a club and the doorman or the security guard treats you like shit, that kills your vibe
Yeah.
before you're
100%.
even in the door.
100%.
So we've always just tried to make everybody feel like they're at home. And I guess it resonates over time.
How many nights or how long does it take for a party to be successful?
Oof,
I always say 3 months minimum.
Okay.
it's a good rule of thumb.
So is that like a business standard or
No, something that you've learned.
or
like,
you guys
along the
based
way.
on your experience?
I just think it takes, you know, like your first party at a new venue or a new place
Yeah.
usually is pretty successful. 'Cause
Exactly,
You,
yeah,
like,
the first one
you
because
just go in so
you go
hard,
in.
It's the second
and then
and
it's
third
like the
that are
second and third one, you start to see that decline. And it just takes, like, people have habits. So whatever night, on a Friday night, maybe they're used to going to a Treehouse or Heart, or whatever it was at that time.
Okay.
Saturdays were always Space at the time. So people get sucked into the habit of going to the same place, whatever that venue might be. Sundays, 1-800-Lucky. So it takes just a long time to break those habits from people.
That's so interesting that you say that, Travis, because a couple of months ago we started, you know, this concept that's called the After Row. It's an after office, like an electronic music event that's more geared into a afternoon.
We call it a social dance.
Yeah, social dance, right? And it's during a time where it's not late at night. You know, people can go after work. You know, have a drink from 5 to 10, 5 to 11, and it's a more, you know, like a friendlier, let's say friendlier. You know, to
Easy to digest. I
exactly.
would say.
Yeah.
Easy to digest.
You're not in a warehouse
So
or
5 at night to 7?
No,
No,
it's
no, no,
from
till
5
5 in the
p.m.
morning?
5 p.m. on the afternoon till
Okay.
midnight.
And we
It's
had
after office.
We had
That's the-
exactly
that's
like
the
the
concept
very
behind it.
first one, very successful. The second one was successful. The third one, you know, we started seeing a little bit decline. But unfortunately, the venue didn't like where
direction?
it was going. And
happens a lot.
and I always told Rory there was, man, we have to find something because nothing is gonna pay off on the first 3 or 4 or 5 events. Somebody has to trust in that process. That
So you
takes
got to have
3
that
months.
conversation with the venue ownership
Exactly.
or management from the beginning. Like, we need 3 months. You know, we need time to build. It's not an
Exactly.
overnight thing, but once you do it, once you pass that like curve, you know, it becomes sustainable and repetitive.
Exactly. So
You
yeah.
got to
so-
build habits. You know.
Exactly. So you got to build a habit. So we weren't like
Also,
so off.
Also, you have to put yourself in a position of the club owner. you know?
Totally.
And it's a business. At
Exactly.
the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's a business. If the DJs understand it's a business and they understand the rules of the business, they will be successful. Because everyone's, especially with house. Why do you get into house music? It's because you love it. Why did I start doing house? I was doing great money with open format. I had 5 clubs running at the same. I was my own competition at one point. You know, I had 5 clubs. At one point, I had 5 clubs running on the same night, and it was all the same music. All I did was switch the DJs around.
Oh my god.
You know, but why did I get into house? I loved it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. That's eventually how everyone starts in house music.
100%, yeah.
Totally.
What they don't understand is the business of house music. You know, how does a DJ know what to charge? What's reasonable? You know, what's the rule of thumb? About 10% of what the bar sells, based on what he would generate, I would say.
That's for a residency.
For like if a DJ can come up and just make up a number.
Okay.
You know, I want to get $4,000 a show.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he
You
has to
gotta
be able.
make
He has to be able to deliver not only $4,000 but more in a change of the numbers. So if the night does normally 20 grand, you're going to want to see 28,000 because of that DJ.
Yeah.
That will justify the higher rates, not just because you're
Okay.
good looking. You know, well, you think you're the best DJ in the world. At the end of the day, the numbers don't lie. It's all a numbers game.
Okay.
And
Okay.
You know?
it took. We opened Heart in September of 2015, and I think it took us till about like April of 2016 before we were like, oh, this is gonna work. It was like those first 4 or 5 months where we were just like,
Oh yeah, man, you're right beside space.
shit,
like-
we made a mistake. We shouldn't have opened on this block. This is not working, and we kept having to change things in the venue just to
Pivoting.
even make the flow of the room better.
Okay.
Because if you were there at the beginning, the layout was really
Yeah.
odd. So we moved the DJ booth. We actually
3
moved
times.
some walls. We changed it 3 times.
3 times.
And every time we would see changes in the overall vibe of the night.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers of sales would reflect at the bar. All these things.
The
You're blowing my
longevity,
head.
the longevity
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
night.
yeah. This is mind-blowing.
Because I mean,
And if you were there during that progression, most people never remember like the beginning when it sucks. Like
Oh,
even the
yeah.
grand
Yeah,
opening,
I remember when it
even
blows
the
up.
grand opening in the original space was like a struggle. Nobody wanted to go to downtown Miami,
Yeah.
and it took them I think like a year
Totally.
to
Yeah,
rebuild
I mean,
habits to
Remember,
get people
everyone
comfortable.
made fun of him. Like,
Oh,
what are
yeah.
you doing building a club in the middle of the ghetto?
Yeah, because it's not what it is right now. Like
At
No,
all.
it was
Condos
all, you
weren't
have to understand,
there.
it was warehouses and it was,
Yeah.
you know, it
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
But it
crack
takes a
alley.
huge commitment.
You know?
I mean, those like first 6 months at Heart, I was paying my bills with my savings because it wasn't making me anything.
that's where I wanted to go. That's where I wanted to go. How much does it cost for a promoter to get into a club? In the sense of, I want to have my party here. I want every Thursday. How much do I have to give you, right? Or what's
Do I
gonna
have
be
to
my
generate, like,
risk? What's
yeah.
gonna be like? How should someone who wants to start a night should manage that?
I mean, I like going in with little risk as possible.
Yeah.
So I always try to structure my deal where I'm partners with the venue in some way.
Okay.
You know, we both have some skin in the game. We both reward equally. We both lose equally. If they aren't making money, I'm not making money.
Well,
Because
that-
like, if you want longevity at a venue, they have to make money to cover their rent, their electricity, their staff. And if you take a promoter deal that crushes them, and they never can make money, they're obviously going to eventually change it up.
Exactly.
So do you guys think that the club culture, at least here in Miami, has gotten tougher in the sense of like those negotiations? For us, it's been tough, and that's why I bring it up. Like
Miami's lacking venues right now.
Yeah.
Totally.
I think it's more saturated. And it's more saturated with more people wanting to promote parties, not knowing how to really do it. And number two, the lack of venues, good venues. So I think every venue you go into differently. Remember, you guys are seeing 1-800 Lucky now, but Lucky's been a project in the making for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, since the doors opened at 1-800 Lucky. And it wasn't always making those numbers. It was always good, but when did it become profitable?
Yeah, there was a lot of trial and error, obviously.
Yeah, we played around with the music.
We know what genres work and don't work.
Yeah, we played around with different styles of music at different hours. You know, placing the headliners at certain times. And if you go to Lucky from 4 to 3 a.m., from 4 in the afternoon to 3 a.m., the music, we try to program as it progresses.
Yeah.
You know.
Because the people at the venue are different at different stages of
Yeah,
the
well, I mean, you got to think it's a restaurant, it's family oriented. You don't want to sit there and have someone like, you know, Tiesto, ultra, 150 beats per minute. When the guy's trying to eat
4:30
he's trying to eat noodles and dumplings, you know.
And everyone's always like anti-formula, but you have to figure out what works at what hour, what genres work and don't work. Because if you don't build up consistency, you're not going to build up a consistent crowd.
Exactly.
So how do you guys go from? Well, I guess that you guys still promote parties, right? But where do you guys decide, like, okay, now my main gig is going to be, I'm going to start buying talent, I'm going to start managing people in the house music industry. How do you guys, how does that becomes, first, before going there, like, how do you guys meet each other, though?
Yeah.
Because you guys are like a power duo, I will say.
We've only been like teaming up for like maybe, 2 or 3 years?
About
4 years?
No, 4 years now.
Yeah. But we were friends for a long time.
Yeah.
We helped each other out with our events. So like he would do stuff, I would promote and vice versa.
And there were times that we went head to head a few times.
Who won?
You know? No, come on. Come on. I've spanked you a few times.
Wow.
I mean, but
Let's do something. Let's do a call to action. People in the comments right here, say who do you think who won?
Because they went to those events, probably.
The people in the comments, like the 100,000 viewers we have, are gonna comment down. They're gonna say who won. We'll leave it to them. We'll leave it to their word.
No, but you were saying.
No, I mean we had very similar tastes in the music, and it got to a point where, you know, I've done this for so long, and I've always been on my own. I've always done everything on my own, financed it, did all that. Where Travis, Travis had, you know, a little more. He had someone to, you know, guide him or something like that. But he also had to come up with the whole concepts and all that himself. So we had a lot of similarities. It got to a point where he had a kid. I was getting, you know, tired of out there on my own, and we kind of just fell into that. I was like, yo, why don't we just do this together?
Yeah.
You know.
I don't remember how it happened, no specific, like the exact moment.
I think it was at Factory.
I think that's where we
really happened.
that's where we really started teaming up. But we worked together for years.
Yeah.
And this is on the producing side of the house, right?
Events.
Like events.
Like exactly, like producing events.
Yeah.
Not on the management side. On the management side, each of you have.
We have separate things, but we constantly call each other and like bounce ideas. Like he might be having an issue with a specific show, and he calls me for some advice, and vice versa. Because sometimes you need an outside perspective from somebody that will really not give you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
We're definitely not cheerleaders.
Exactly.
He'll tell me something, I'll tell him the truth, and I think that's where the respect level lies. That I know I can call Travis and he can tell me
You're fucking it up.
you're fucking up. Like you're calm down. You're being too hard, or you're being too soft. Go hard.
Yeah, you need to step it
know.
up. Okay.
I mean, I know I look like the tough one, but I'm actually the teddy bear. And
This guy.
he's the asshole.
I'm honest.
Okay.
And that's. Are you reading my mind?
Sometimes.
Jesus Christ.
We're brutally honest.
I was
Brutally
gonna
honest.
say, is it easy to trust people in this business though?
No.
Look at me with these questions though.
Not bad, huh?
You're going hard.
You're doing
Dude, you're
good.
coming in hard.
You're doing all right. You should do this more often.
Came in for
I do it every week.
No, it's hard to trust people in this business.
Yeah.
You usually can count your friends on a hand.
Okay.
You know, everyone else is an acquaintance.
Okay.
Most people are looking. You know, you can always kind of vibe somebody, and you could tell there's always some other motive. You know.
Yeah.
100%.
Everybody has an agenda, like, you know.
And that's something that we actually we started as individual DJs. Actually, for me, I just barely moved to Miami not so long ago. I moved here during the pandemic. I used to live in Atlanta, so I guess that my entire house music scene school was the scene in Atlanta, which is a very like Rumana, it's like very European scene, very 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 European. And coming down here and getting all like this Latino crowd, getting to know. For us, it's been tough to set ourselves on a, let me see how can I say this without sounding disrespectful to other people. We like to differentiate how we handle our career. We don't like people to see us as the DJs, you know? Like we want people to see each other as artists, because we take a lot of pride in our craft. We spend hours in the studio. Like we want to take it to a different level. We want to keep it professional. And for us coming here and trusting promoters and trusting club owners, sometimes probably because we don't have the experience, or we don't have like a heavy hand next to us that does like the groundwork, we get fucked a lot. Like we just came from New York, and first of all, shout out to Vibes Entertainment and JP El Baile. They took us to New York. JP is a friend that I met over a producing course, and we kind of make like a pact. I bring him here to the events that I throw, and he takes me there.
Yeah, gig swap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gig swap.
That's the
Swaps.
classic.
He treated us like
beautiful.
kings. We
Yeah.
played at TBA Brooklyn. That for us, it's like a huge
Yeah, I know TBA. I've been there a
accomplishment.
few times. Yeah.
And
Very cool venue.
amazing, cool
Yeah,
venue, cool
very
people.
underground.
Very
Grimy,
underground.
grimy.
Wednesday night,
Yeah.
very underground, very New
Grimy,
York.
I love it.
It was
Amazing.
full, man. Like,
But then,
I mean, you might walk out with an STD from there, but you had a great time doing it.
it's like worth it.
It was
it's very
worth it.
actually. The night that we played wasn't that heavy. We closed our set playing disco at 4 a.m. in the morning.
No, but I love
so
the vibe in there.
Yeah,
It's like the
yeah,
graffiti
yeah,
and
yeah.
all that. It's a little.
Uh-huh.
Like,
I've never
reminds
been
me of
in
like old school Mecca.
It looks like a lot
Oh,
like
yeah?
it looks like Coyotaco.
It's because it's
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Coyotaco vibes, but
But
it's
bigger?
bigger. Yeah.
No, actually-
well, it's a little bit more
this is
spacious.
like
A
more
little bit.
squarey. Coyotaco is more like rectangular.
Yeah.
And the sound system, they had void sound system, so it's
So
like the big
horns?
Yeah,
It was
big
good.
horns
Yeah.
right there. So that's pretty
was
cool.
nice.
But then we played an after party. That shout out to Andres and Vibes Entertainment. They're my homies. He's a promoter over there. He took me last year, and I closed a boat for them, like one of those huge yachts that they do. But this time we played. I really hope he doesn't see this.
He's gonna see it.
We closed an after
An
party,
after party.
and I know that Andres was working really hard to get us on a gig on Saturday on closing a boat, and we already had, so we had to buy our tickets one way first, because we didn't
waiting
know if
for
we
it-
were
for that
going to
to
play
close,
Saturday night or have to come back Saturday morning. So at the end, the Saturday gig didn't happen. He booked us to close an after party in Brooklyn in this warehouse. When we got there, like the writer wasn't there.
was
We are a
like-
duo, right? So we play with four
Four
CDJs.
CDJs.
We play both of us at the same time with
Because we
four
don't play back to
CDJs.
back. I mean, we played at the same time.
So playing with
Gotcha.
two CDJs, it's like weird for us now. So we got there. The writer wasn't there. The sound monitors were like
It was a
speaker.
fold-out
No matter
table.
how
It
big
was
you
like-
get, no matter how big of a DJ, they still mess those things
Yeah.
up.
Oh man. So
So how do we do though? What do we do? Like what should people in our position do to avoid those kind of a scenarios?
I feel like there's a little tough area where you got to be hard, but not too hard.
Yeah,
where
it's
they-
tough
where they-
because you guys are representing yourselves, so you don't want to be too hard. And then they're like, "Oh, these guys are divas or an asshole."
exactly.
But I mean, the best bet. I mean, I'm assuming you guys email your writers, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And they confirm it.
Yeah.
I mean, I always tell all of my artists, because even though like I handle a lot of their logistics and I confirm this stuff, sometimes it doesn't happen. So I'm like, when you land and you're texting a promoter, just be like, "Hey, I just want to double check you have the 4 CDJs. It's important to us because it's two of us playing and we're using all 4 decks live."
So
Well,
Like
also-
double checking is always great.
I want to also add to that because you guys think, I know it looks like having a manager is like the end all and be all,
Yeah.
but honestly, a lot of these promoters want to they want to talk directly with the artist.
Yeah.
they'll
Oh,
ignore,
yeah.
they'll ignore us. So you think it's like, okay, having a manager will be better.
And so I can forget about that, right? No, you'll have the promoter
Yeah.
writing to you like either way.
Yeah, you're gonna have the promoter's always gonna try to reach out to the artist.
Yeah.
They sometimes try to skip over us. They skip out on those little things like
Yeah.
him asking for a writer. Hey, can you make sure the RMX is there? That's a big one. Can you make sure the RMX is there? And then when he gets there, it's not. You know, they'll listen to an artist sometimes more than a manager. Where from outside looking in, it looks like, okay, well, the manager is really on top of it. It happens no matter how big a DJ is.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
That's great that you guys bring this, because we always saw management as you know, like the good cop, bad cop, right? Like the manager comes and like, this is all broken. What are you doing? Blah blah blah. And then the artist comes and says, don't worry, this is nice. I love this. That way, the artist always like, you know.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to look.
That's the way it's
supposed to look. But usually, it's the artist whispering in their ear, "Yo, can you make sure?"
Exactly,
Yeah,
100%, 100%.
We have to play this.
And you can't. I mean, it's an awkward situation for everybody.
Okay.
Because nobody wants to be an asshole, but everybody wants things to go right. Promoters sometimes want to cut corners to save money, you know? And nobody really always wants to be completely transparent or honest.
Yeah, and then like when you're there, like there's not much you can do. Like,
And then,
not
yeah,
gonna
once
leave.
it's done
like-
and once
exactly.
you're there and it's live, and if they don't have those extra CDJs
It's-
or whatever you're
No,
missing,
the
I mean,
show must go
you
on.
have to make it work.
Exactly,
'Cause
you have
if
to make it
not,
work.
you don't want to disappoint the fans.
Exactly.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
100%. And that's like, I think that we're getting to a point, because when are you, for example, like, we don't want to fight, or we don't want to get into an argument with the promoters that are taking Moreno to New York, because at the end of the day, Moreno is a project that is just starting. It's just getting consolidated. You know, we are having the chance of flying outside of our city to close an event over there. So at the same time, our booking process, we want it to be as smooth as possible. And usually on I guess that rookie gigs, I will call them like that, you know, like the contract thing,
Gotta earn your stripes,
the writer thing, it's not a priority. Or if you say like, hey, yeah, sure, book us, like, here's our contract, they were like, oh, but we're not going to sign you a contract, or stuff like that. Like, when should artists begin, or when should artists set that change and be like, I mean, if you don't sign my contract, like, I run the risk of not going, I don't care.
It's a tough line. I mean, I deal with, like, in some of our bigger artists, I mean, there's certain markets where we know we're just not going to, like, all these things are going to happen. There's certain markets in, like, Central and South America where they're not going to sign that contract. They're going to pay. You hope they are, you know?
Okay.
If not, we're not going. But they don't work like that. They don't advance shows. You'll be lucky if you get a set time.
Oh,
Oh,
happened
yeah.
to
God,
us.
that happened to us
That
this
happened to
past
us.
weekend. It
We
was
were
like,
supposed to play from 2:30 to 5, and literally at 12:35 they told us, no, you guys are playing at
7:30.
7:30 a.m. in the morning. It's
We're
like,
That happens a lot. And the worst is when it happens and the shows are amazing. And then you're like, I want to do it again,
Exactly.
but I don't want to deal with all this again. You know, like there's like promoters we deal
What's
with
the
on
price?
a regular where we know what we're getting into, but the shows are so good.
And I think it's also it's case by case basis. Like even now, like say John Paul in New York.
okay,
John Paul will call me, and I'll send him a contract. I know he's not going to sign it. He just never signs it. You know, he just doesn't.
Yeah.
I could ask him for deposits, and I'm blue in the face. But he's a homie. He's been around forever. He's solid. He's one of the best promoters in the game. And it's a case by case basis.
Okay.
You know, if you don't really know the promoter, yeah, you want to see how many times you get a flyer. They post it up before you even approve it.
That's the worst.
All the time. You
Oh,
think
really?
you think it would stop at our level? No,
Never stops.
Never stops.
Flyer goes
Never
out, they got
stops.
some weird color or line over someone's the
Wrong
artist's
spelling,
face.
It had, yeah.
Wrong spelling or just anything.
Even
Right?
like
the show's not even really confirmed yet. They have your press skip
Oh,
from last
yeah.
time.
Man.
You're like, well,
Oh,
we
man,
haven't
I think
even
we're getting
confirmed
in
this.
deep, and I think we have to stop right now.
let's
Got
before
it.
before
We could do
go-
this again.
No,
No,
before,
no. This is
We
gonna
are-
go
we're
on.
in
We
the
just gotta.
halftime. This is a halftime.
We're
But
halftime.
before we go there, I wanna end this segment
Okay.
with a question. When should a DJ get a manager?
That's a tough one.
That's not the right question. It's what's the manager going to do for you?
Yeah.
Okay,
You know? Are they, if the manager's going to take 10 or 20%, are they going to bring 10 or 20% more?
okay.
Do they even have the relationships, or is it just somebody that wants to be a manager? Do the economics of the gig make sense, you know? If you're making $1,000 a show and your manager's taking 20% and you have to book your own flights and then you have to pay 30% taxes to the government, is there really anything left for you?
Yeah.
So there's a lot to encounter. Like, you know, you almost got to make pros and cons lists. Sometimes it's worth like making a little less because the vision for that manager is really in line with you, and he's like a true believer, or he or she, is a true believer in your end goals.
So I would say it depends on the individual. Depends on what he brings to the table, what the artist, and make sure the vision is shared. Make sure the vision is shared. Because I don't just sign artists. I've met 1,000 amazing artists.
That's exactly my question. Like, what does it take for an artist to be part of Amp Group, for example? You know, like that's because it's definitely
The artist
It's
himself.
like a Harry
Not-
Potter thing. It's like you didn't choose the wound. The wound. chose
Honestly,
you.
I don't care how you DJ.
Sometimes we don't
Okay.
take on somebody even if we really believe in them because we don't have the time to give you.
Okay.
And if I can't give you the amount of time you deserve, is it fair to you?
With me, it's more of a personal thing.
Okay.
It's a marriage.
That too.
I'm committing to you, and I'm very, very loyal. And I ride. If I make a commitment to you, it's to the end. So, do I trust you? Can I be stuck in a hotel with you? Can I be stuck in an airport with you? Because it happens.
100%.
Am I gonna want to kill you after 2 hours of being stuck in a hotel
100%.
with you or a plane?
100%.
You know. Also, you have to. The DJing, the music changes. The equipment gets more evolved. I could teach anyone how to DJ. That's easy. That's the easy
personal
part.
thing.
It has to be the personality.
Okay.
It's the personality. It's not the artist. Oh, I can play better than. Yeah, but you don't have his personality. You don't have his work ethic. You know.
They're serious about what they're doing. Like when they
Exactly.
get there on time, they perform.
It's
they
not only
deliver.
that. Is also know when to be humble.
Exactly.
You.
When to put your foot down.
Yeah, I've met so many DJs that are amazing DJs that I would be like, yo, I would love to sign him, but I can't work with him on a day-to-day basis. That's also true. Also, as a manager, he has to have the right influences to get you there. If if he works with EDM guys,
Yeah,
he may not
you're
be
not
the
gonna-
right vibe for you. You know, so I think it's an open question. It's really up to the person. If you click, if you guys both believe in each other, and and you gotta be loyalty. There's gotta
I
be some
guess,
loyalty.
I guess
God.
it's two questions.
And there's a lot of variables. So like,
Yeah, lots.
Exactly.
it really is. There's a lot of variables and like everything, like dating somebody. You know, like
Absolutely.
it needs to fit right and feel good on both sides.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's two questions. Like I was saying, it's what Travis said. It's do you really need like what do you need a manager for? Like that's the first
Yes,
question.
some people want it too early.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
You know, and if
And then
And that can
then
come
would
off as
be-
arrogant sometimes. Oh, you got to talk to my manager.
that's a turn off. You know, if there's a
It's $150 gig. Like, what are you talking to your
That's
manager
like-
for?
That's my point. That's
You know?
that's my point. And I think that a lot of people represent with that feeling.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
more here in Miami, like here in Miami, our friends.
Yeah.
Which we have we've built such a nice community here, and I think that we all feel like that. It's like I mean, like yeah, like I don't want to go there because they're, like I'm not gonna tell like yeah, go speak to my manager. You're gonna be like no.
that's the worst.
Like who the
Yeah,
fuck are you?
Exactly.
Also, are they? Do you really need one yet? That's really the question.
Exactly.
Some people really want it really early,
Okay.
and there's
Also-
no reason for it.
So what are you getting them for? Are you getting them because you want more bookings? Because that's not what a manager's job is.
Exactly.
Our job is not to get you bookings. That's an agent's job.
Exactly.
And I think people misconstrue the
Yeah,
two.
totally.
I've had people come up to me, very well-known local DJs that have definitely a lot of potential and have been very successful on their own. I would love for you to be my manager. I'm like, why? Oh, I want to start touring outside of Miami. I mean, that's not what I do. That's not what I do. Go get yourself an agent.
Exactly.
Agent gets paid to find you bookings. A manager polishes the actual product. A manager tells you, don't do this gig, do this gig. I actually turn down more gigs than I accept.
Yeah.
And it's not so much the gigs you take, it's the gigs you turn down that are most important. The gigs you want aren't going to pay you what you want. The gigs that pay you aren't the gigs you want.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a great sentence to close this segment.
Totally.
And let's get into tropicalation moment.
Okay. Yeah, this is part of our sponsors. Casalú, like we were saying in the beginning, aged rum seltzer, first one in the market, done by Venezuelans, marketed by Venezuelans, and these guys are really making their imprint here in Miami. It'd be cool to have them like in 1-800. I don't know if they sell it there or whatever, but it'd be
I think
interesting.
it's a very 1-800 lucky
Yeah,
drink.
man, it's
like
really
a
cool. So
rum can.
part of their incorporation into the podcast was they wanted not to just have the can there, having their mention and stuff, but they really wanted to be a part of it. And Casalú started as a musical movement as well, right? The creators had a playlist, which is the Tropicalation playlist, where they would put
it was used for pregame.
exactly. It was used for pre-games, and one way we thought of incorporating, the Casalu image and, brand into the podcast is asking our guests, what 3, if you were given control of that playlist, and this is, keep in mind, you can have any sort of music. It's, what playlist or what 3 tracks would have to be on that playlist that would say, okay, these are Travis's, these are Victor's tracks. It can be anything.
Could be anything. You guys can do one, and one in.
And keep in mind,
consensus.
this is a playlist that's for pre-gaming. People are feeling good. People are building up their energy. They're
Feeling
hyping up. They're
tropicalation,
feeling
you know what I mean?
tropical. Okay.
The pregame
So-
song. What's your 3 pregame songs?
That's a tough one.
Oh man.
Pre-game, get in the mood. Music sounds better with you.
Okay.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, man,
That's
never
a good
gets
one.
old.
That's
a good
that's
one.
a great
Alright, I
one.
like
Never
it.
gets
Great
old.
one.
That's a good
That's
one.
like a shower song. That's like the song that you play
That
when
you sing in
get
the
into
shower?
Ready.
before getting ready.
I actually go with, like, I try to set myself up something different that I'm not gonna hear that night.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'll do something like Marvin Gaye, George Washington Jr., like some jazz, funk. And believe it or not, my music selection is way different than you would anticipate.
Whoa. I mean,
So
It
I
kinda
would
makes
I would
sense.
I would do like Depeche Mode,
Okay.
cool.
It's a good one.
Green
Marvin
Day.
Gaye.
Green Day?
Yeah, love me some
okay,
Green
okay,
Day.
okay.
Def Leppard.
God.
Maybe there's some, Gangstar, Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang Clan,
I was
that's
waiting
great.
Anything,
I was waiting for that one.
anything like around
Yeah,
there
yeah,
would be
yeah,
good.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's 2 right there. Now you guys gotta get one
One in common.
in common though.
I don't think we're gonna get there, right? I mean, we have a lot of music in common, but I just
But
It
We
has
like
to
our
be.
own thing.
It
A
has
track that would identify.
No,
let's say.
I'm actually really into. I'll tell you a track I'm into right now. It's Edelbrook, Numb.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a.
I don't think I've heard
Let's
it.
put the link right there.
I don't know that one either.
It's just like a Rufus Just Soul
You need to
monolink
play it.
kind
Okay,
of vibe.
okay.
I like. Oh
Melodic
yeah.
vibe.
Exactly.
Edel
like
Block.
that.
It's Edel Block Numb or something like that.
You know,
I'll get you the artist.
if I want to get like amped up, man, I think Estelle, American Boy. Just
American.
Nice.
talk
yeah,
about promoter.
yeah, yeah,
I'm an
yeah,
American
yeah.
boy.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
That's great, and
Cool,
that's
man.
that's the first part, right? And the second part of this tropicalation segment is like, as Kike say, tropicalation is like, it's like a feeling of being in connection with your loved ones on a very organic way. Like for example, when we asked Tony about it, he talked about once that he was playing Partay Venezuela, that he kind of like arrived super late to the gig and he had to jump into the booth, and that was a moment that he remembered with a lot of.
And
like,
our last one, the previous episode we had one
Oh,
just us
exactly.
two. And our tropicalation moment was our 1-800 gig.
Exactly.
Oh,
Because we
nice.
felt that was a milestone for us. Like, we had achieved, something that we really, pursued.
We fought that gig with a lot of, like, talent.
like,
Playing that little black box
Oh,
or something,
man,
right?
it's crazy.
That little
It's
magical
crazy.
It's my
black
favorite
box.
booth here in Miami.
By
I haven't
far.
played Space yet.
Yeah, you haven't played it in August. That thing turns into a
Oh,
sauna.
yeah.
Yeah, that's tough in the summer there, man.
You guys should get like an AC on it.
There
It
is.
has like
It
an
has
AC.
one.
It
You
has
have
an
like
AC.
5 fans in there, an AC unit.
It doesn't
People are
matter. It's
sweating.
so hot in there.
Miami's hot in the summer.
But I like it though.
Yeah, man.
Like the concept
It's good,
behind
it's
it.
good.
But yeah, so
You might
if
have
we-
to wear like Moreno tank tops.
I'm
when you
down.
play
I'm
in
down.
the
Crop
summer.
tops. I'm too fat to wear crop tops,
man.
but I'll do that. If you guys could talk about a moment,
Like a memorable moment in
Yeah.
your career.
yeah, exactly.
I'll let you
It
go
doesn't have to
first.
be like a glorious.
I
moment,
know mine right off the bat.
but it
It's
has to
always
be a
been-
moment that you guys were like, "Damn, I'm living this." Could be the birth of your child.
Yeah, but I don't know that relates to this.
It doesn't have to relate
Oh,
with
to anything
this.
like a big
Yeah.
moment?
It has to be a big moment in your life.
you
It doesn't
felt
have to
like-
relate to this.
It was a random conference, and space was super overloaded, and I was just a promoter at the time. And Puig and Emmy, who was the other partner at the time, they called me in, and they kind of were just like, "We're super overwhelmed this year. Can you help out with taking care of the artists all week?" And it didn't pay shit, but it kind of opened the door from me just being like a say my name at the door promoter to having like a real position.
Okay,
Stands out big time.
cool, man. Victor.
In the industry, I would have to say 2006 Bang Music Festival. It was a festival that we did. Remember that? Bang Music Festival was a festival that was literally just slapped together. And it was a lot of creative minds. A lot of creative minds brought that thing together. And it was very diverse. It was pretty much like an open format festival.
Okay.
Tiesto played it. Daft Punk's last performance live was at that festival. You could actually, it's on YouTube. It was the last show they ever did live. And Duran Duran's reunion. So it was like I was stuck between Common.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
Common at the time was just dropped Crazy.
Way.
Though that song was very popular in 2006, it was Crazy. So he just finished performing Crazy. Daft Punk was getting on. I'm sorry, Daft Punk just finished the show, and we were about to go over to see that. Duran Duran just finished the show, and we were going to see Daft Punk. And I'm standing there, and I'm seeing all these people. It was, I don't know how many, it was like 10,000 people. And we're like, wow, these people are all here having memories for something that we sat in a sushi bar, drunk as hell, and wrote on a napkin.
Okay.
And this is what came out. So it was kind of like crazy that it was something that was built so organically.
Cheers, boys. Stuff's good.
Yeah, cheers.
Salud.
Salud. Oh, man.
So that resonates a lot with us because I guess that the merge, like I guess the going from a duo to doing like all these like extracurricular activities that we always said, like being a DJ is one thing and our career is one thing, but you also have to provide something to the culture, right?
100%.
Yeah,
So
you have to give
that's-
something back.
That's like the argument behind Pachi and Pachi the festival, right? Because Pachi is like, let's call it the parent company. We like to call
Like an
it. It's like
umbrella.
a 360 company that does everything. Like we do our little after office event.
We have our podcast.
We have our podcast, and as always, as part of our events, that we are very focused on locals, like rising talent. We give them, like, we record all their sets, and we post them in our podcast on SoundCloud, and we also do video
Small video snippet.
podcast of all the artists that we bring, like that we invite to our shows. It's a lot of work. Everything that you see here, it's done by the three of us. Same as all our events are edited, produced, and managed by the three of us. So I think that's when you talk about that, like it remind me of us three and Pio sitting in Kike's apartment, like talking about like this and what Pachi wants to become. The idea of Pachi is to, and I think that's where we're gonna go now. Is Pachi wants to be a festival. Pachi wants to become a local festival. And I'm not pitching this idea to you guys, but I am pitching this idea to you guys. No, just kidding. Pachi, the idea of Pachi is to be like kind of like the local DJs talent, local DJs festival. I think that here in Miami, it's such a difficult city for local artists because
You
you
have
guys
so many huge
because
artists
you have
coming in,
you have
like,
if
every
you have
week.
Cocodrills every weekend on a residency, right? For a DJ that is starting and wants to create his event on a Sunday, it's like, dude, it's not gonna happen. It's
Not
gonna
gonna
be,
happen.
it's not gonna
Like
happen.
that, Victor's like,
So-
Not gonna
no.
happen.
So based on that, using that as a premise, right? Not even counting on Space, Floyd, you name it.
But that's also, not to interrupt, but that's also, the drills are now decided to do a residency. After, we understand, it's been 15, 16 years, and they've gotten to a point where pretty much most of their money, annual income, comes from outside of Miami.
Yeah.
It's not Miami-based. So for them, it was, when they approached me with the idea, like, I'm like, hey, there's an opportunity to do to take over the Sundays musically. Would you be interested? They're like, yes, we want to do it. We love the fact that it's free. We travel so much. We want to come back here and be able to play what we want to play.
100%.
Whatever we feel. If it's disco, we vibes. And you've been a few times.
Yeah.
It's never the same set.
100%.
It's never the
You
same.
know, it could be tech house, it could be tech, deep, disco-y vibes, funky. You know, they play.
Dude, they play like for 3 hours, so they go
Salsa.
through a lot.
Yeah, they go through a lot of
Merengue.
yeah, they'll mix it all in.
Bachata.
But it was more, we want to do something in our hometown. Not because they need to, because they wanted to.
But that's where
You
I'm
know?
going. That's different there because now it's them having the choice of doing that.
And I think it shows in
But
their
they didn't
sound
have that
too because they're
overnight.
doing it.
They
No,
were once where everybody else was.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the whole point of
But you
this.
can't think about the competition.
100%.
You have to just do it and suffer sometimes, but keep growing.
100%. I agree.
You know, even if you're growing 1% every event, you're growing.
100%.
you know what's funny? I tell people all this time. Do you know why I signed the Coco Drills? Because everyone was hating on them at the time. The time I signed them was during the Swedish House Mafia.
Oh man.
Okay.
Okay.
Nobody liked Tech House. There was no one doing Tech House. I think I was just doing Marco Corolla at Nocturnal. And we did like 800 people. We're like, woo! 800 people. If we do Marco Corolla now and do 800 people, we just lost a lot of money. But back then, it was like unheard of. We did Eladio Alicante. But that was like when Vacaciones de Chile had first come out. So this is like old school. So we're talking about Swedish House Mafia. And I signed her and I looked at them. I was like, guys, you do know no one likes your music, right? No one's playing this here. It was like once a month that we could probably get away with this. Like, bro, it's just what we want to do. And I was like, these guys are so passionate, so into it. I'm like, you know what? Let's try it. Whatever, we'll try it. We'll try it out. The scene ended up evolving, ended up blowing up, and there were pretty much one of the first ones, one of the main ones doing it here.
100%.
So when these big artists were coming in, like, okay, who plays Tech House? Oh, those two Coco Joe kids. So they kind of was able to jump in that wave. But they actually had to go outside of Miami, become successful outside of Miami before Miami would embrace them. It's really, really hard for locals to make it here. And that's why you really don't see DJs from Miami make it outside of Miami.
Well, but then that gives. I mean, I think that gives a
That's
lot
the
more
premise.
value.
I think that's the premise.
That's the premise.
That's the premise of our concept. Like, what we want to bring as part of Pachi is that platform. Whether that skyrockets talents or whether it's a place for local talents to have a chance to be on the big big stage for in their city because definitely all these people that is starting who are struggling to fill a room here are definitely not going to be able to fill a room anywhere else in the United States. So I think that's the premise with everything that we're doing. The podcast to teach people what music is about, then our little events, recording and giving them that. Because when we started as a DJ, buying a recorder and plugging it in and having that, like, you know, I guess that agility to just go and, you know, be able to manipulate your equipment in the middle of a gig, you know, when you're nervous. You don't even know what you're going to play.
You barely get your USB and like, okay, I'm starting.
So we want to be like that little kind of like step, I would say, into getting them into a level of exposure, of exposure, I would say, for them to be comfortable to take on those next steps that you are mentioning, which is having the balls to reach out to JP, for example, the way we did it, be like, hey JP, you come here, I'll go there. How about that? $300.
I mean, I think people underestimate gig swaps a lot.
Gig swaps. I mean, you got to get out of your shell.
Yeah.
You can't be shy. You know, if you can't put yourself out there in a one-on-one situation, how are you going to do it in front of thousands of people? You know?
That's another thing. You got to also, a lot of DJs pigeonhole themselves into their own little sound.
Oh yeah.
You know, where you have to understand, outside of Miami is easy. Miami is easy, and I'm
Compared
to everywhere else.
Really?
Miami is easy, and I'll explain why.
Okay, I like this.
If I'm going to book your electric pickle,
Okay.
what's it called?
ATV records.
ATV, I'm sorry, I missed the pickle.
That's fine.
Pickle.
We all miss the pickle.
Wow.
We all miss the pickle, Victor.
But like ATV, you already know the vibe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know what
That
you're
they
gonna
play.
get exactly.
I'm going to book you at Treehouse. You know the vibe.
Yep.
I'll book you at Space.
Yeah.
You know the
know
vibe.
that.
So you can prepare yourself and have your thumb drive ready to go. But what if I book you in Tupelo, Mississippi,
What are you gonna do?
where Friday night they had
You gotta go
Cedric
a week
Gervais,
before.
and Saturday, Friday night they had Cedric Gervais, and Monday they have Paco Suna. So it's the same house club. There's one house club in the whole city.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do there?
Yeah, you gotta bring
If
everything.
they're not feeling what you're doing,
Yeah.
you got to switch in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
And you got to, and this is where I tell people, you have to compliment without compromising who you are as a DJ.
100%.
It's not selling out, but you also have to compliment.
Gotta bend.
If they're not into
Man.
Tech House, you have to make them.
You gotta make it work,
somehow
man.
you got to make them into it.
Yeah.
That's where traveling becomes harder. A lot of people think, "Oh, I could just play over there." No.
It happened to us. I think it happened to us.
It happened to us on
They
Saturday
won't
morning
dig your
at the after.
vibe. They won't dig
It's
the
going
vibe.
to keep happening.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you got to play a market 2 or 3 or 4 times before you really nail it, you know? And it's the big DJs too. I remember there's times when we had Space or Hard. First time an artist came in, they played like okay, kind of what you expected. But it was the second or third time where they
You
really
know,
started nailing it, you know?
Got it. Yeah.
That's crazy that you say that, because we agree 100%, and I think that we just have that experience very, very fresh in our heads. Like, we were playing Saturday. We usually, the way we structure our sets, we want to do, we like to do it like a double kind of, like some boobies,
Like a wave,
you know?
yeah.
It's like boob, middle, boob, right? And the way that we do that middle part is like, we should bring like very like musical songs, musical records, like very like flamenco, very stuff like that to give up people a rest. But on Saturday, as we did that,
Man,
it's
it
like
was
we
no
literally
rest. We
punched
lost-
people in the face.
It was like we
Yeah.
lost them at
Yeah.
right there. We
But
were
it's
like,
up to
bro,
the
we need
promoter.
to reel them back in right now.
yeah.
It's up to the promoter to convey, not tell you what to play, but to kind of explain the night.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this
Travis
is what
good at that.
This is what you can expect at these hours, and maybe the energy direction you should go, and then take it down at this time and this. And if you kind of lay out that groundwork for somebody, they can go into a better situation.
Okay.
So I was gonna, and I think that's great, because that's what this podcast is about, 100%. Because I can bet you all my money, which is around $20 to $35, that most of the people out there, most of the promoters out there don't know that. They don't even think about it, because it's one of those laws, for example, that if nobody tells you, you will never figure
They
out.
just assume the DJ is going to come in and play perfect to their
Exactly.
room, and it's not that.
Exactly.
I mean,
We
you
gotta-
should
we gotta
want
tell
your night to
people.
do the best, whether you're a DJ or a promoter. So you as a DJ, you prepare your music, right?
Yep.
So what can I do to prepare my night to be better?
Okay.
Talking to the staff with a pre-shift meeting, talking to all the artists, the opener, what to expect, you know, like these types of things.
You know, even explaining Lucky, like sometimes we'll bring a guest in when the boys are out of town. We'll bring a guest DJ in. We let them know, hey, this is not the normal straight tech house night. It is fun, happy music. It is
yeah.
house.
Yeah.
You could play whatever you want, but it has to be fun, energetic.
You gotta keep people moving
You know, it's
Yeah.
that you could lose the attention of that crowd in a heartbeat.
in a second.
You know, they'll eat everything you throw at them as long as it's good.
Yeah.
You throw broccoli at them, and you see them run to the bar. You know, as long as it tastes good, they're eating it up. You
That's
know,
great. That's great.
but you can't go too hard. You got to keep it vocally. It's very girl friendly. It's open air. You know, read the room. It's an open air. It's a cool vibe. It's
gotta look-
Sunday. It's free. You got the guy in the suit hanging out with the guy in the flip flops and the tank top. You got the tranny hanging out with this one thug.
Yeah.
it's everything.
It's everything, man.
And
And,
then
you know,
all this-
one thing that really stuck with me, because we spoke before we played there. We had a conversation where we stayed till the end, and you know, you were explaining to us, you know, what the concept was behind Lucky.
Yeah.
And you told me something that really stuck to me. I don't want you looking at the people in the front. I want you looking at the people in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
If they're moving their feet, then you got it.
Then you got it. Exactly.
Like I said, it's also, you have to add some business acumen. No, can't talk now.
Business.
Man, the
Salud.
casalud, the
That's it,
casalud.
son.
Yeah, you can't get it, bro.
But you got to add some business sense to it. You know, it is a business. And like I said earlier, if you want your deal with your venue to last, you need to make them money as well. You know, they have
Totally.
bills they have to pay. They want to profit. You know, the
Yeah.
bartenders want to profit. So you have to like try to watch all these things throughout the night.
Yeah, as-
And look at it and go, how can we improve next week?
You know, we have parties that we do that have a certain style of music that we know don't make as much as the other style, and everyone's like, "How do you know?" One way to gauge it right off the bat, I mean, I'm sure we speak freely, but you know, stuff like look at the crowd. What you know,
What they're
if
wearing.
they,
Yeah, yeah,
what are they drinking? What
Yeah.
are they?
Drinking.
What kind of
yeah.
Yeah,
you know? If they're doing, let's be real. If they're doing, so the bar sales are going to be lower.
Okay.
So, and then you have to look at, okay, now if they're doing, I'm not condoning none of these by any means, but I'm just saying, there you're going to have more of a liquor crowd, more bottle pop and stuff like that. So it's not just like, let's throw a party, we're going to make
No, there's so
$30,000.
many other factors
No,
that pull
it's,
in.
that crowd is a crowd, they're going to drink less. So that means you're going to charge more at the door. You have to compensate. It's a business. So free at the door, and the fact that they're not drinking, that owner's gonna
Oh,
look, the
man.
owner of the club's gonna be like,
Business-wise,
we made
it's-
12 grand tonight. It was like 1,200 people in here. You know what's wrong?
Yeah, you
And
know
then there's
what's
other
wrong.
parties that make tons of money, like hip hop. Hip hop is very popping bottles.
Exactly.
It's a higher ratio. It's a bigger check average. It's you got to break it down into business. And if a DJ understands what the club owner needs and what the club needs, you could work together and become it. And you actually become a very talented DJ, and that'll also raise your fee if you know how to make more sales.
You think DJs at all levels do that though? Like for
No.
example, Marco Carola. No, well, I don't want to say Marco Carola because of
I mean,
course,
he really cares. Like, he
He
gets
cares.
involved to make sure it's
Yeah.
successful. You know, if he has clients reach out to him, he forwards it to the right people. I mean, there's a reason why guys like him or say Jamie or any of these ones that you see with these massive parties around the world, they're not just successful because they play good or they have a strong label. They're very good business people.
Yeah. They're intricate,
And
they're
everybody
involved in
thinks
it.
that talking about business like takes away from the art. You can really do both equally. You could put out the art you want, but also care about the business. Because at the end of the day, there's people in this business that rely on you guys. You know, the security guards, they have like families to feed, the bartenders, all
bartenders.
these things, you know?
Servers,
so when you
everyone.
fail, you don't just fail yourselves, you're failing all them.
guys.
Wow.
I think we should charge for people to watch this episode because I think
Man.
that it was a masterclass, to be
Yeah,
honest.
totally. I mean, something
Well, I have a
that-
book coming out. You know,
Oh, man, something that I know that for me as a spectator, because you know we all go through that stage. You don't really know what goes behind until you really listen. Like
That's
or
why they
have
gotta
these
watch We Are the
conversations, where they gotta
Party,
watch
so they
this.
can know what happens behind
That's
the
the whole
scenes.
purpose of this, guys. So for me, it's been very enlightening. I mean, we do events, but you guys are obviously on a different league, on a different level, and getting to know this, and I know people are going to appreciate this so much because they're going to appreciate Sundays, you know, just to give us something out. They're going to appreciate Sundays so much more because I mean, Travis is a numbers guy. I know he's like right behind it, everything.
Actually, he's a
I'm
real
the numbers
numbers
guy.
guy.
I'm the numbers
and,
guy.
and Victor is so, for me, like, my perspective was, he, like, you observe so much, like, you're not just standing here, like, you know what's going on. Like, you know how to read it.
You have to. I mean, I've done parties, all different kinds of parties, you know, and it's a science. It really is a science. Even if it's like picking the right drink special, you know, do we do ladies drink for free? Why? Why not do martinis drink for free? It's slower consumption, looks prettier when girls are walking. There's a lot of things, mojitos, this and that. Adding a strawberry to the champagne glass, so you use a champagne. It is everything is down to the science.
man.
I am super OCD.
Even
when it
knowing
comes
your crowd. If you have like a young crowd, well, liquor's going to sell good, you know? But if you have an older crowd and you don't have like premium vodkas or tequilas, they're not going to drink.
Exactly.
You know,
Those-
like me, I'm in my 30s. If I go to a club or bar and they have shit tequila,
Oh,
I'm not buying a single drink that entire night. He'll tell you, I complain about this
Everywhere.
The next day I call him like, oh, what a terrible night. They didn't have any good tequila.
What's your tequila to go to?
Casamigos.
Okay.
Casamigos,
It's
people.
on fire right now.
yeah.
Guys,
I mean, Clase Azul is number one, but for
But,
like,
you
just,
know, yeah,
just-
like,
because
for
you're in your
regular, yeah,
30s.
for regular
That's because
consumption.
you're in your 30s.
just social drinking, I think Casamigos.
5 more years, and you'll step up from Casamigos. It's an age thing, I think. Guys, it was a pleasure having you. Thanks for
Nah,
coming.
pleasure being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank
Pleasure,
you,
bro.
guys.
Glad
Thank
we
you,
were
guys.
able to make this happen.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Obviously.
Let's do it again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It was
For
fun.
We're gonna, we're cooking this, but for the close of the first season, we're trying to do something live, invite
crowd.
people over, and have like all our guests sit down and have like a massive like industry conversation about like whatever the fuck we would just want to talk at that time. We'll probably have like activities with the people that come and everything, and we'll make sure to know our crowd, know what kind of liquors they consume. Make sure, you know, all these tips that you just gave us, we'll make
And
sure
we'll be
that-
sure to have Casamigos, but that's
For
the
sure.
first thing we're going to buy.
Got me back.
Thank
you
you
go.
guys for coming. And
No, thank you for having us, and that's actually I think it's great what you guys are doing because
Appreciate
it. Absolutely.
a lot of DJs
Keep doing
out
it, bro.
here
Appreciate
are
it.
so
Stay
lost.
motivated,
They
yo.
don't know what to
Yeah.
do. They don't know where to go, how to get there. Even promoters, they just think throwing a party is. You're actually educating, and it actually does great for the industry, and that's where you're going to see the industry evolve. And we got to start helping each other, educating each other.
Totally.
appreciate
You know?
it.
No, I appreciate
Thank you,
you.
man.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
us.
guys.
man.
Thank you so much, guys.
Later,
Subscribe.
guys.
Like and subscribe.
Subscribe,
Follow
like,
all our
comment.
social networks. Comment. Hit
Everything.
the bell.
Yeah.
Thanks to Kaeli Smoke and Vape. 3 locations.
Go to 1-800-LUCKY this Sunday.
1-800 Lucky
Every
this
Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Every
Every
Sunday.
Sunday.
Well,
Every
when you
Sunday.
say this Sunday, it works on every episode.
Exactly.
Just replay that part over and over.
Exactly.
Come to 1-800 Lucky this Sunday. Thanks, Kaeli Smoke and Vape. 3 locations.
Casalu.
Sprinkle, Wingwood, and
Humans alike.
Miami Beach.
Drink this
F1
shit.
group.
Drink
Casalu.
Casalu. Is it good? You like it?
It was good, bro. I drank most of it.
So
Nice.
let's say that they tell you, hey, we don't have Casamigos, but we have Casalu.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Yes. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you guys.
Oh man.
Dancing. D.